think so. She was in there getting in a cold tub, so she keeps saying I'll be fine, so I trust her.
What's going on, my Flyby family? It's your boy Izzy. Welcome if you're new. Sophie Cunningham's injury scared everybody half to death, man.
Stephanie White, our beloved Indiana coach, who could probably win a game with her eyes closed, just dropped an injury update on Sophie Cunningham. And trust me, it's not your average, oh, she's fine situation. Nope, we're talking twists, turns, and probably a little bit of drama. You know, the kind of update that'll make you say, wait, what? I mean, this injury saga is about to get a lot more interesting than you think.
So Sophie Cunningham went down with what did not look like the greatest injury. She went down, rolled her ankle after landing on Ryan Howard's leg, which is not an ideal situation. No.
Stephanie White has just dropped a bombshell about Sophie Cunningham's injury, and let me tell you, this isn't your typical tear-filled, heart-wrenching update. No, no, no. If you were expecting a tragic tale where Sophie's sitting on the bench with a box of tissues, feeling sorry for herself, you might want to grab your popcorn and prepare for something far more thrilling. Because Sophie Cunningham? She's not the type to sit idly by and let an injury define her.
This game, number one. The starters for Indiana were okay, right? We ended up seeing it change in the starting lineup. We saw Sophie Cunningham get the starting nod. However, Sophie Cunningham had to go out of the game. I forgot what half that was, if that was in the first half or the second half. But Sophie Cunningham was coming down. She was in the air, coming down. She ended up rolling her ankle on Ryan Howard's foot. She went out of the game, was on the bench for a little while, and I believe she went to the locker room, but she did not return back to this game.
You see, Sophie Cunningham is a different breed. This woman isn't just a player, she's a warrior. Injuries don't scare her, they fuel her. She's not the kind of athlete who waits for the injury fairy to come sprinkle some magic dust and fix everything. She's more like the type to say, okay, you've thrown a challenge my way, now watch me crush it. When news first broke about her injury, the usual questions surfaced. Would this be the end of her season? Would she take the time to recover and play it safe?
Everybody know, yes, Sophie Cunningham got injured. Okay, she got injured. She landed on her ankle the wrong way. Let's go ahead and look through the play right now. All right. So here she is here, coming for the rebound, boom, and lands on Ryan Howard's foot the wrong way, and she was holding it, man.
But if you followed Cunningham's career at all, you know the answer before even asking. Sophie isn't in the business of waiting around for someone to tell her when it's safe to get back in the game. No, she's all about charging back into the action as if the injury never even happened, leaving a trail of defeated opponents in her wake. In fact, this injury update isn't about her sitting on the sidelines at all. It's about her bouncing back with the kind of intensity that makes everyone around her feel like they're watching a game changer in real time.
This game, number one. The starters for Indiana were okay, right? We ended up seeing it change in the starting lineup. We saw Sophie Cunningham get the starting nod. However, Sophie Cunningham had to go out of the game. I forgot what half that was, if that was in the first half or the second half. But Sophie Cunningham was coming down. She was in the air, coming down. She ended up rolling her ankle on Ryan Howard's foot. She went out of the game, was on the bench for a little while, and I believe she went to the locker room, but she did not return back to this game.
And let's be real, when Sophie Cunningham steps back onto the court, it's not just an athlete returning from injury, it's an entire force of nature that's about to shake things up. Anyone who doubts her, well, they're in for a rude awakening. She's coming back, and she's coming back strong. And let me tell you, this woman is an absolute freaking warrior. She's like a modern-day superhero, except instead of a cape fluttering behind her, she's rocking a basketball jersey, probably covered in a layer of sweat and determination. And if you look closely, you'll see that she has a physique that could bench press a car, because why not? Sophie Cunningham isn't just built like a tank, she plays like one too. She's the kind of player who makes you sit up straight, eyes glued to the screen, wondering how anyone could move with such speed and strength. And trust me, she's always moving. Whether it's on defense, offense, or just breaking through the noise of the game, Sophie's relentless, like a freight train barreling down the court. There's no stopping her.
Back to this game. So I hope that Sophie Cunningham is okay. Again, you know, it looks like a rolled ankle, so hopefully it's not too bad. Maybe she's out for a day or so, but yeah, we'll see. We'll find out an update for from the Indiana Fever. But Sophie Cunningham did go out of the game due to injury. We also...
If you ever needed proof that the Indiana Fever are not just a team, but an actual, literal force of nature, Sophie Cunningham is your living, breathing embodiment of that force. She's not just a piece of the puzzle, she's the lightning in the storm. In fact, the whole team could probably change their slogan to, "We're not just here to play, we're here to crush." And Sophie would be the first to say, "That's right." Her attitude is what makes her stand out. She has this uncanny ability to blend the ferocity of a lion with the agility of a gazelle, making opponents look like they're trying to catch a speeding bullet. Here's the thing with Sophie. She doesn't care if she's been knocked down. She doesn't care if someone slams her to the floor, which, by the way, happened in the Mystic game. More on that in a second. That doesn't faze her. It doesn't even rattle her. You could practically hear her thinking, "Oh, that was fun. Let's do it again." And then she'll rise to her feet like it's nothing, as if gravity's a mere suggestion, not a law of physics.
And that's a positive thing. She was like trying to see if she could get back in the game. Obviously, they're not dumb. They're not going to put her back into a preseason game. But she was trying to get back into the game, which is big. If we're honest, that is genuinely big. But as well as that, we've now heard Stephanie White talking about it. Obviously,
Seriously, this is a woman who has probably been through more physical punishment than most of us will experience in a lifetime. And yet she plays every game with the heart of a champion and the resilience of a fighter. She's not just trying to win a game, she's trying to prove that you can't break her, no matter how many times you hit her. So yeah, Sophie Cunningham, total beast mode. Now, if you've been living under a rock, Sophie Cunningham's injury isn't just a, "oh, she's hurt and now she'll be out for the season" type of story. Number Sophie Cunningham is not the type to let an injury keep her from doing what she does best, blowing past defenders, setting up plays, and basically acting like she's auditioning for a part in a Fast and Furious movie. If you thought Sophie was just going to sit back and let her injury control her, you clearly don't know Sophie.
Everybody was scared in the live stream, fam. I was holding my breath. My face was fixed a certain way that looked crazy. I mean, we were scared in there, okay? Now, the main thing is, yes, she twisted her ankle, okay? And she was out for the rest of the game. But she is okay, all right? It did look like it could have been something worse because of how she landed, and it was like more so of an Achilles looking stretch instead of a twisted sideways foot. So that's what scared that's what scared me. But nonetheless, man, it came out that it was a twisted ankle and she was okay, and she was just gonna sit out for the rest of the game.
Stephanie White, the Indiana Fever head coach, and let's be real, the true mastermind behind all of this, is probably lounging back in her chair right now with that signature satisfied grin of someone who knows they've just hit the jackpot. And the jackpot in question? Sophie Cunningham. Seriously, when you have a player like Sophie on your roster, there's no need to stress over key injuries or falling behind in the standings. Why? Because Sophie Cunningham is the type of player who doesn't just play the game, she owns it. She's the one diving for loose balls, throwing her body into the chaos of the court, and making sure that every single second on the floor counts. You can throw all the obstacles you want at her, whether it's a bruising opponent or a scoreboard that's looking a little too close for comfort, but Sophie's not about to be fazed. If anything, she thrives in those moments, finding a way to turn the tide, often with a little bit of blood, sweat, and maybe a few bruises that she'll wear proudly. And let's be honest, Stephanie White knows that when you've got a player like Sophie, you've got everything you need. It's like the old saying goes, pain is temporary, but glory is forever. Sophie's pain? An afterthought. Glory? That's what she's all about, and she's making sure it's secured, game after game.
Cunningham started in her place, which was an interesting wrinkle before the game. Cunningham actually stepped on somebody's foot and turned her ankle and had to leave the game, though Stephanie White said afterwards that Cunningham said she'll be fine. So that's the update from Sophie Cunningham, and it was a run-of-the-mill step on the foot ankle injury.
Let's talk about that Mystic game. Oh, you know the one. If you were watching, you're probably still replaying it in your head like it's some kind of cinematic masterpiece. Sophie didn't just take a hit. No, this wasn't your average foul where the player goes down, shakes it off, and moves on like nothing happened. No. This was a moment. It wasn't just a collision. It was as if the universe itself said, let's see how badly we can rattle Sophie today. And the result? Pure gold. Some players might have crumbled under that kind of pressure, taken a seat on the hardwood, nursing their pride and their body. But not Sophie. Oh, Sophie got absolutely flattened, slammed to the ground like a rag doll, and instead of staying there, soaking in the sympathy of the crowd, she pulled a move that screamed, "Is that all you've got?" She popped right back up like she was auditioning for the role of most dangerous person on the court. No hesitation, no doubt, just this look that could probably burn holes through steel. Did you really think you could take me down that easily?
And it's getting ugly already out there. There was a couple of ugly fouls. And the retards, as I like to call them, the RAHTARDSs.
And then came the true magic. Sophie didn't just get up. She turned into a one-woman wrecking ball. She took that fall and said, "Nice try, but I've been to the ground and back." That's the kind of player you want on your team. Not someone who crumbles at the slightest challenge, but someone who looks adversity in the face, gives it a smirk, and says, "This is my court now." Let's be real here. Sophie's not just a key player for the Fever, she's their heartbeat, their secret sauce, the entire essence of the team. Without her, the squad would probably start to resemble a pizza without cheese. Sure, there's some structure, maybe even a little flavor, but let's be honest, it's just not quite as good. You ever had a pizza that's missing the cheese? It's basically just bread with a few toppings scattered about, like a sad, flat piece of dough that's trying to pretend it's something special, but is failing miserably. Sophie is the cheese. She's the gooey, melty deliciousness that binds everything together, turning a bland situation into something you crave. She's the layer that makes the team rise to the occasion.
Sophie Cunningham, I hope she feels better. I'm going to call it out. I saw what happened. So when
she's on the floor, it's like watching a master chef throw down in the kitchen. Every movement is calculated, precise, and dare I say it, effortlessly brilliant. But you take her out of the mix, and all you're left with is a mess of toppings that don't really make sense and a crust that's way too tough to even bother chewing. The Fever are, undeniably, a different team with Sophie. Take her out, and it's like trying to build a house with no foundation. It's shaky, unstable, and definitely not going to stand for long. You think the Fever are a legitimate contender without Sophie? You might as well ask a fish to climb a tree. Sure, it could maybe flail its way up, but it's probably not going to make it very far. And even if it somehow did, it wouldn't be doing what it's meant to do. Sophie is what makes the Fever tick. Without her, they lose their rhythm, their flow, their edge.
They are already now attacking Sophie Cunningham. Oh, they're mad. The MAGA Barbies got them angry. They're cheering on violence against this basketball player. Sophie Cunningham just got through by a rookie.
To put it simply, Sophie is the unsung hero who makes everything look easy, but without her, the Fever are just another team trying to find their way in a sea of mediocrity. Sophie is the game changer, the player who takes them from good enough to we're about to wreck this league. If you take her out, you're not just losing a player, you're losing the heart and soul of the team. But of course, no one knows this better than Sophie herself. She's not just showing up to play, she's showing up to dominate. Every game, without fail, she's out there, ready to take on the world and laugh in its face. When the opposition looks her way, they don't see a player they can easily outmuscle. They see someone who's practically daring them to come at her. Sophie isn't just playing the game, she's playing with the kind of confidence that makes her opponents question their very life choices.
Being back in the Midwest, you got a little taste of winter in the middle of March and April. That's always fun.
Heck yeah. After practice yesterday, they had scalloped potatoes and meatloaf, and I was like, I am back in the Midwest, and I love it. So I'm all here. I'm for it.
She knows one thing for sure. She's not just going to survive this game, she's going to thrive in it. This is the kind of energy the Fever need in their corner. They don't need players who tiptoe around potential injuries, who hesitate before diving in for the ball. They need warriors. Players who thrive in the chaos, who roll with the punches and come back stronger every time. Sophie embodies this fearless attitude, always charging forward, never backing down. If a tackle knocks her down, it's just a brief pit stop before she's back up and doing what she does best, dominating the field. When faced with the chance of injury, Sophie doesn't even flinch. She just smirks and says, "You think that's going to stop me? Please, I'm just getting started." and that's exactly the mentality the Fever need to take them all the way.